Satangavelu. Welcome to Star News, bringing you the eye on the news for Tuesday, 19 April. London, April 19, CEOs from four of Britain's leading energy suppliers call for more government action to cushion the impact of prices that are expected to surge in October ahead of peak winter demand. Power and gas prices for millions of households rose 54% from April after regulator of GEM increased its cap on the most widely used tariffs following record wholesale global gas prices. Since the new cap was set, global gas prices have risen further following Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Analysts at Cornwall Insight predict the next cap level, which comes into effect in October, could rise by another 30% to more than $2,600 a year. My biggest concern is when we get to October. Come October, that's going to be horrific, truly horrific. Kate Anderson, CEO of Iowa-owned Scottish Power, told a cross-party committee of lawmakers it needs a massive shift in the government approach. Think tank, the Resolution Foundation, said the number of households in England spending at least 18% of their budget on energy bills, a share deemed to represent fuel stress, doubled to 5 million following the April rise. The government in February launched measures including a $200 discount on electricity bills of all households from October to be repaid over 5 years. The situation has changed significantly for the worse, so I would expect the government to reassess, Simon Rossai, CEO of EDF's UK arm, said. E.ON UK CEO Michael Lewis said the predicted increase in October could mean some 30% to 40% of British households have difficulty paying bills, and the British gas owners Centrica's CEO of Chris O'Shea said the situation would get worse in October without further government intervention. Anderson suggested the government could set up a social fund to subsidize energy for the most vulnerable, while Lewis said the government could cut tax on energy bills, increase the $200 rebate, and extend the repayment period. Britain's Business, Energy and Industrial Strategy Department did not immediately respond to a request for comment. Britain's main opposition, Labour Party, in January urged the government to impose a windfall tax on producers of North Sea oil and gas to fund help for people struggling with energy bills. The record prices have meant big profits for energy procedures, while some supply companies have been squeezed and many smaller companies went bust last year. Centrica, however, reported a doubling in profit for 2011 as it took on customers following the collapse of rivals. That's all the news for today, and thank you for staying with me. See you in the next news telecast of business economy news. Coming up next is the world news.
Hello and welcome. You're watching Star News with me, Tanusha Sivasubramaniam. And before we begin, we'd like to make an appeal to all our viewers to stay safe during this endemic. Let's now take a look at the headline. Johannesburg, South Africa's major port of Durban, where operations were disrupted by severe flooding last week, is now functional, and a backlog of thousands of containers will be cleared within 5 to 6 days, the country's public enterprises minister said on Tuesday, April 19. The floods caused extensive damage to roads leading to Durban Port, one of the busiest shipping terminals in Africa and a key hub for exports like metals and agricultural commodities and imports like fuel. Scientists believe that the southeastern coast of Africa is becoming more vulnerable to violent storms and floods as human emissions of heat-trapping gases cause the Indian Ocean to warm. They expect the trend to worsen dramatically in the upcoming decades. Minister Pravin Gordhan told an online briefing on Tuesday that fridges, logs and debris ended up in the harbour during the floods, but that after 72 hours of dredging, a lot of the debris had been cleared. He said that trucks could now access the port terminals, which were operating at between 60% and 100% capacity, and that there were no risk of fuel shortages as state logistics company Transnet's pipeline was operational. Talking about chrome, ferrochrome and iron ore specifically, Gordhan said that exports were happening at a reasonable level given the damage that had occurred, and that exports should improve in the coming days. Trade and Industry Minister Abraham Patel said that problems with the movement of goods were shifting from the Durban port, where there had been considerable progress, to the logistics of moving cargo to Gauteng province, the country's economic hub where Johannesburg is located. President Cyril Ramaphosa invoked the importance of the Durban port of the country's economy as a whole in an address to the nation on Monday, when he announced that his cabinet had declared a national state of disaster to respond to the crisis. The floods, among the worst to have affected KwaZulu-Natal province in its recorded history, have killed more than 440, left thousands homeless and damaged more than 10 million rand of infrastructure. Dozens of people are still missing, and search and rescue missions continue, although the chances of finding people more than a week after the rain started to lash the East Coast province are shrinking. That's all we have in this edition of Star News. Thank you. Keep watching this channel for latest news.
Breaking news with me, Kirtana Segran. It was recently reported that a 19-year-old sales girl in Sabah had suffered injuries after she jumped out of a moving car to escape an inhaling driver who had molested and attempted to rob her. According to the Borneo Post, the incident happened near the Kionsom waterfall in Kota Kinabalu on Thursday, 31st March. The girl had gotten into a blue Produa Axia car to head to work in Mengatal around 9 am. The driver, was only known as Zahir, told the girl that he had to detour using a shortcut because the main route was jammed. When they got near the Kionsom waterfall area, he had asked the girl to sit in the front seat where he began to rub her thighs. Acting Kota Kinabalu Police Chief Superintendent George Abdul Rahman said that when the victim told him to not do it again, the suspect then took out a small knife and asked her to hand over her money. In fear of her life, the brave girl jumped out of the moving car and called a friend for help. She sustained injuries on her leg and was taken to a hospital for outpatient treatment due her jump. She lodged a police report at around 1:14 p.m. on the same day. The incident was also shared on the social media by a woman who claims is her employer. Her injuries was that bad because she immediately jumped out of the moving car, so I hope that others will remain vigilant, she added. In the investigation, it reveals that the car's number plate was registered to another vehicle. Police has launched a manhunt for the suspect. That's all for today's sizzling news. Once again, I'm Kirtana Segran reporting. Thank you.
Jumping into sports. Football. Manchester United interim manager Ralph Rangnick said he has already told the Premier League club's board what changes need to be made to the squad in the closed season transfer window, and he is willing to discuss them with his successor. This brings the one man in everybody's mind to the spotlight. Has the decision of bringing in youngsters into the squad made an impact on the future appearance of the 37-year-old Portuguese? I have told how I see the current squad and what needs to happen in my opinion, Rangnick told reporters. I spoke regularly with board members and they know what I think needs to happen in the summer. Cristiano Ronaldo has not been performing as good as his performance in his national team. Manchester United fans has also reached the thought that the Portuguese duo Bruno Fernandes and Cristiano Ronaldo might not have the miracle to bring Manchester United back in the English Premier League title race. Now, jumping into badminton. Tan Kiang Meng and Lai Pei Jing are going for a strong finish to save Malaysia 2 blushes. The world number 10 were the only shuttlers left standing in the Korean Open after the others suffered a meltdown in the quarterfinals of the weekend tournament in Suncheon City yesterday. Determined to end their 5-year title drought, the second seeds were in commanding form as they pulled off a 21-18 and 21-17 win over China's Oh Xuan Yi and Huang Yaguing. The last title was won in 2017 at the Malaysian Masters in Cebu for the Malaysian duo. They only needed 39 minutes to record the impressive victory over the German Open runner-ups to set up a meeting against the six seeds, Rinoy Rivaldi and Pita Hinangdas of Indonesia, for a place in the finals. The World 23 pair needed 52 minutes to overcome Japan's Hiroki Midorakawa and Natsu Saito in three sets: 15-21, 21-18, and 21-16. Beijing was happy to make the semi-finals and has vowed to give her all today. Thank you for joining and tuning in with us in Star News.